Well, good morning, afternoon, depending on which part of the world you are in today, people. Today, I have a special guest, and Skip is not here. So, Steve Copeland is one of the Pitch It contestants this year with Rythmz. Tell us a little bit about your company there, sir.
So Rythmz is, and I'll just give you a little bit quick background, but Rythmz is a 5G as a service bot, instant response, security response. It takes backup internet and actually makes it what it should be. So doing the 20-second piece of how to get there. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
So,
We about 5 months old.
yeah, I'm an old guy, I remember upgrading to 14.4K. Like that was fast internet, and then with my cell phone, I got to 3G one day, and then LTE, and I thought I was just flying. Now this new 5G things out there, and I'm like, LTE is good enough for me. So tell me a little bit of things like, what is this 5G bringing to MSPs? Like, why? I mean, it's just another technology, right? It's just another upgrade to speed. Is that all it is?
It's not just that. So that's the interesting part with it. So 5G, as it's moving on, has nothing to do with your phone. It has everything to do with wireless connectivity. So fixed wireless access. You should be seeing T-Mobile, Verizon ads if you're around the country. If you're out of the country, Rogers, Vodafone. They're all pushing this fixed wireless access. And the interesting part is the fight. There's a networking fight. If you remember the old school, we're about the same age. There used to be an old networking fight. Cisco wasn't the only place you could buy switches before. In fact, they didn't even sell switches when I was there.
So. You're going back.
Yeah. But there was a networking war, and there was also one during the DSL timeframe, T1 timeframe, and all of that pieces. And the big push was, where do we push fiber? Where's fiber go out to? And there's still tons, just even in the US, of dark fiber. It's not there. So 5G takes that and moves it to another level. It's better latency, and its theoretical speeds are 10 gigs per device. Or theoretical is 20 gigs. Actual speeds are 10 gig per device.
Per device?
Per device in a true 5G area.
And what kind of latency are we seeing there?
So if I hold up fingers, how many do I have?
2.
Okay, that takes 13 seconds for your eyes to process it to your brain. 13 milliseconds.
Yep.
5G is 5 milliseconds.
Nice. So you can almost run SAN replication over that.
You can absolutely run SAN replication over that. And if you think about this new thing, I don't know if you've heard about it. I know maybe I'm going way too far out on the bleeding edge, but AI, I think is what they're calling it. AI needs the latency. So that whole latency piece is huge for this. If you're running we used to be able to do VoIP over 250 millisecond latency with no problem. In fact, that was a goal. 5 millisecond, 8 millisecond, 10 millisecond is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah. So no, it is a little different. It's interesting. And I don't know if you guys have this boss. I have this great boss. I love him. Part of our parent company. And he has a beautiful wife. She's awesome. She likes to take selfies. So we also own a vodka company, if you see behind me. We got to do some cool Beverly Hills Mansion party, and yes, they let me in, which I'm still surprised about. But when we got there, the WAN went out. The Cox cable went completely down. And he said, the Wi-Fi's out. And I said, no, the WAN is out. He goes, no, that's not what anybody believes right now at this point. So his wife couldn't upload selfies, so I had to fix it. So I designed this box. And I really looked at event Wi-Fis, and you can find these everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's event Wi-Fi places out there. You know how much they rent those for a day?
No.
$1,800 a day.
Oh my gosh.
A day.
Per booth.
And and that's just one box. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm not going to do this. So I went to go buy one, and it was 20 grand. And then I'm like, somebody listed what they had in it. And then I got busy in my garage. I have a 56 F100. That's my baby. And it got moved to the side. And I started with a Dremel and started networking, going back to my roots, if you will, to that side of it. And then the interesting part was coming across an MSP and just seeing, because that was my background. I left around 2013. I worked for Spam Soap. I worked for a large MSP in Orange County. And I went, there's something here. So about 4 or 5 months ago, we started figuring it out. So much so that like right now, Lori Tasani and Sean and Max, who wrote Public Plan MSP, had an event in Chicago. We happened to be at an ASCII event in Chicago. Well, Lori's internet was out. And she goes, "Can you help me out?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we gave her the box. In a basement, completely down, one box held 40 IT people. And they couldn't believe it. They're like, "Wow, I didn't know this could actually do it." And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "Just go up at least waist level. Don't put it in a back room. Run a cable to it. Get as much space as you can with it." And it worked. She called me. She's like, "There's people doing actual business meetings on this 5G box, and my internet's out." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's how powerful it is." So not just the event space and bringing that in. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So for those of you that are less technical, like maybe listen, it's like what we're talking about here is we're talking about a box that you can drop with no need for fiber or cable or anything, and it will just work and give everybody Wi-Fi in the area faster than you can get via copper in many places.
Yeah,
and
10
it's
minutes.
A wireless box. Well, you just need to plug it in.
Yep.
And
it's if you watch the IT crowd, it's the internet.
It's the internet in the box with the red light on top.
In fact, we wanted to put the red lights on it. No, I said no. And now we may put some red lights on it.
There you go.
So, yeah, I have the internet. The elders of the internet let me come in.
So yeah, the old way, like back in my day, when we wanted a backup internet or we wanted something like that, we had like some crappy DSL line running off the side, right? You didn't want to pay a lot for it because, when you got a T1, you're paying $1,800 a month for this thing back in the day. And, today I'm sitting here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I've got fiber to the curb. We're paying $150 a month or whatever it is for that. And I can get up to gig speeds. But what if I wanted a backup connection? If my business is running on this, and as inevitably happens, somebody with a backhoe cuts my fiber, then what do? Like, my backup is to grab my cell phone and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And anybody who's tried to tether off a cell phone, it's unreliable at best.
It's interesting that exact scenario happened with one of our MSP partners. I've coached some MSP partners throughout the time. Like, I've not coached where, "Hey, give me this." I just did it as a friend. And it was one of my old employees, and he had a client that was a friend of mine, and a backhoe hit the Verizon line. And he called me in a panic, and I go, "Why don't you just call this person?" And he goes, "He told me to call you and ask if I could borrow one of the boxes." And I was like, "Well, borrow is strong." But we brought out our boxes, and they ran on it for 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Then they were like, "Amazing." And he's like, "Can we just keep that?" And so that was our first sale. That was our first entry into this piece. Yeah. I originally built these things to do, like, our beta test was the Copeland concert at the Rose Bowl.
Nice.
So it's like, and all I got told was make it work. So yeah, it's a whole different kind of solution. And there's been some 4G backups that are out there. And taking that backup side of it, and that's really it's not just the only place you can go with it.
So my problem has always been tower saturation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got a concert, you got a Coldplay concert, and you got one tower over there, and you've got 20, 30,000 people posting on Instagram, and it's just crushing that tower. How does 5G help that scenario?
Well, it's not just 5G. It's actually physical pieces that do that. Size matters.
Okay.
So our antennas are about the size of my head.
Okay.
So if I have an antenna, I grab more airspace. I grab more airwave, more than you would on your cell phone.
Okay.
So your cell phone's got a small antenna. Our antennas are bigger, 3 times the size, and that's just the antenna of the cell phone itself. So it's grabbing more airwaves. So when you grab more airwaves, you've got it. In fact, the exact scenario you're talking about is at the Rose Bowl. They have horrible cell service, absolutely ridiculous, even when no one's there. And so when we put that out there, we got to ask for their CEO, "Can you just leave these boxes?" In fact, we're in discussions with a partner because we're only an MSP play. We don't sell direct unless I can't find a partner. And then we're reaching out to our I've got a lot of friends, and I'll reach out. Hey, do you have a partner that can handle this? We'll still try to push it as far as we can to a partner.
Okay.
But we did the same piece with it, and now they want us to do their golf course. They want us to do the entire thing, and it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've been on a kick lately where I was at an air show, and every single hot dog vendor, falafel vendor, they couldn't get their POSs working.
Really?
It was just saturated. I'm like, if I was an MSP right now, I would walk in with a device like yours and say, look, I will let you on my Wi-Fi, and your internet, your POS is going to work, and no one else.
So that's also a funny scenario. So Juneteenth event in Long Beach, California. A friend of mine owns a bartending, outsourced bartending. And he called me and he goes, I don't trust it. I've seen your box. He's been at the Rose Bowl with it. And he goes, can you get there? And I go, yeah. So our Wi-Fi did go down. And I sent a really good network engineer, happens to be my son there, and he knows how to fill a diesel generator. So the Wi-Fi went back up. It was just power. It wasn't anything else. But the other POS vendors there couldn't get anything on. And he's like, can we use it? And he's like, $500. He was actually charging to make the money back. And our MSP was like, the MSP partner that we used for that one thought this was amazing. And they were on site the whole time. I guess there was some, I don't know, famous rapper there. I don't know. I don't remember the whole thing. And they're like, oh, we want to stay. I'm like, go ahead. You've got passes.
Yeah.
So your scenarios that you're bringing up are actually real life ones that are happening right now in 5 months as we're seeing them and being able to do that. And so it's really interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. So if you're an MSP working with Rythmz, you can actually present this to your clients that are smaller. Who are running food trucks, which are super popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
And solve their problem. And they're going to be willing to pay more because that's going to mean more throughput for them.
And I can make it so it operates off a car battery. But one of the cool things that we did, and we just came up with it with one of our partners in El Paso, and I'd originally thought I would have sold this as insurance, right? Hey, if your internet goes down, I'll be here. Well, I work for In-House IT, which is a large Orange County MSP, and our CEO did not like to drive. So our clients were within a 20-mile radius. But he had 200 of them, right? So I'm like, if I were to sell that, if I were to do that, I would go to all 200 and do this. So we just got off a meeting today, and I was like, all right, I'm going to dumb the box down, right? I'm going to make it so it only has 50 gig. All of our data is unlimited. That's the 4 principles that you need when you build this. Number 1, unlimited data. Has to be unlimited. If you don't, then you get into a spot. Number 2, carrier agnostic. All of our boxes have Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. So it has to be carrier agnostic. Number 3, bondable. So we bond in an SD-WAN, all 3 carriers. So it's not just a failover, it's a hot failover. T-Mobile goes down, AT&T goes down, I don't care, Verizon's still pumping.
It's essentially a mobile carrier hotel.
Yeah, exactly. So making it so that old bonded technology, we talked about T1s, remember bonded T1s, it's not technically a T3, but it's 2 T1s and all that. So it's very similar like that.
You're aging us here, Steve.
Yeah, I know. Wait till I bring up BGRP. So
it usually brings up Banyan Vines when everybody starts talking about old school.
I worked at Cabletron Systems, so yeah, that was my first job in IT, and I left a very lucrative job as a bartender to do it. So being aside of it, those are the big key factors with it. And we came up with this thing. I'm like, all right, we're going to go down to 2 carriers, so we got to know the area you're in, right? So if Verizon doesn't work there, or this doesn't work there, and when we need to make sure that we have the right 2. And I'm going to do it with a smaller modem, 1 antenna, and you're going to build an incident response kit. And what we came up with is he's got at least 20 MSPs within a 2-hour drive. So within an hour drive. So we made the SLA. I helped him design all this. We made the SLA 2 hours. And I go, all right, now you're going to get this box. Try that box to him is going to be $295 a month. He's going to charge each one of those. I told him to do it at $29.95. He's charging them $49.95, and he's got 10 of them signed up already.
Wow.
He already doubled his money, one shot. Literally, he goes, I shot out an email. I got 5 people. He goes, I got 5 people signed up. I got 5 more appointments to talk about it. He goes, I need your box next week. I'm like, perfect. So there's that instant response of that. Now, if you talk about when we did that bonded piece, right? I can bond in their actual wide area network right now. So not only so instead of just having a backup, when we talked about the DSL backup, I always thought it was ridiculous that you're paying for something you're not using. So when you bond that into an SD-WAN, you're actually using all the bandwidth. We have another client in Newark that's doing that. Their internet went down, meaning Cox went down. Our internet stayed up. And instead of getting the call, my internet's down, he was able to make the call to them and say, hey, your internet's going to be a little slower. And his exact quote was, they said they didn't even notice.
And that's what you want.
That's exactly, I'm working with Cox right now. Your internet's down. You're on the backup device that we've deployed a month ago. And you may seem a little bit slower. If somebody's not watching Netflix, that would be great. Right? And they didn't even notice. So somebody, I guess, still was watching Netflix or streaming, whatever, Spotify.
There you go. Watching the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So it still works. So when you do that, we call it taking back the cloud. But it really is putting you in control in a spot that most MSPs don't think to be in control of. And that's the entire internet. But when I left this industry, I left it with an article about if you do not realize that all Exchange servers will be gone in 4 years, you're missing the boat. And I have yet to meet somebody. I met one person on ASCII events that still manages an Exchange server. Although I did get to do Lotus Notes about 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I did Novell 4 years ago.
I made my first RMM technically using Lotus Notes and Bash scripts.
Oh yeah. No. Lotus Notes was a beast.
Over Citrix Metaframe on dial-up.
Yep, that was the way to do things way back before all these big billion-dollar companies were out there. There was hard ways to do things. So.
Yep.
And I got to do Novell. The person that called me goes, "How long has it been since you touched your Novell?" And I said, 20 years. And anybody who's telling you any difference lying to you. And they're like, what? I'm like, I could probably go in my garage and find the old books, but I have no idea what it's done in the last 24, 25 years. So.
Yeah, I'm very rusty as well. I never got into Novell. I was a VMS guy back in those days. So
there was that war. It was almost like the Mac Windows war. Ooh, Mac's better. Or Apple's better. Windows is better. And then you go, oh, remember Apple's networking? And then they all shut up. So.
Well, I mean that's where I'm excited about 5G because you see these pivotal technologies happen every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like 5G is one of those things where you're changing this idea of I need to have physical internet everywhere I go. And now we're seeing this blend of do I need last mile? Do I need to have a fiber cable pulled here to be successful? So when I'm at an event, you've got all these vendors that are saying this is just the way it is. These POS systems just go down because it's just the way it is. They've accepted their fate. But imagine being a hot dog vendor. You're just selling hot dogs. That's all you got. And everybody around you is selling hamburgers and gyros and everything. Your system says hot dogs, our POS system works. Now, all these parents and families and kids streaming are going to flock to your vendor and use sliding cards. And
because you don't have that knuckle buster anymore. You remember the thing, the knuckle buster credit card? You can't use it.
Can't use them anymore. So you have to have a connection. But what if you were the MSP that walked in and said, hey, you know how frustrating these events are? What if I took that frustration away?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, it's even cooler because it has a Wi-Fi piece of it, just adding to what you're saying. What if you added this Wi-Fi piece and they can log into it and it doesn't affect your POS system? Now you're capturing for that. As an MSP, you're capturing leads for your customer.
Yep.
Right there. And that's a powerful piece to do as well. Hey, we're going to grab everybody that logs into your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right. Don't just make sure the other food vendors don't. But yeah.
Yep. And these are the things that make me excited about talking to you at Rythmz. And you guys will help MSPs resell the equipment, train them on how to do it. And we don't sell on this podcast often, but when we get excited about a technology like Rythmz, we say, look, you got to call it. You want an edge that shows, hey, we're going to help your business succeed. This is one of those devices that do it. This is one of the ones that will make your clients go, wow, I tripled my sales out of my food truck because I did this thing. Don't accept your fate. Don't go cash only. Go faster.
I love the accept the fate piece. I never really thought of it like that, but it really is a tech piece of accept the fate. The other big piece is we had a huge use case we carried the broadcast live to ESPN and NBC for the World Long Drive competition.
Nice.
There's one MSP that they had at this country club who could not figure out how to get the bandwidth right because it's all about upload. And they couldn't figure out how to get things going. I happen to know the guy hosting the World Long Ball piece. We brought our MSP, our partner in, and we carried everything. Because I don't know if you know this, golf courses don't like digging up fairways to put in fiber. That's a weird, I don't know why, but it's a weird thing to say, but they don't like doing it. And it works so well. Bring right back to your POS statement. The CEO of the golf club went up to the MSP and he said, can we use our Wi-Fi is not working for POS at the bar over here. Can we use yours? And he said, sure. And guess who's now got a new country club underneath their MSP market?
There you go.
Our partner. So it was, so we like to do that. It's fun. I coming back into this, I was like, oh, it's going to be weird. I'm loving it. I'm having more fun than I've ever had, and it's enjoyable. And it's something that
you're solving a problem that people don't think can be solved, and you're helping clients make more money.
Yeah, there's no better thing to do
in IT.
It's no better thing to do. The other piece of it is it's the just some quick factoids about 5G, so everybody gets it. And Jay McBain can back this up and has backed this up in some of his research on his website with Canalys. Fastest growing technology sector in all of IT is AI. Do you know what the second is? 5G. AI doesn't work without 5G. And if you talk about distributed networking and distributed systems and going back to I remember working on an IBM AS400, having to log into the stupid green terminal, and the network would go down and because somebody kicked the connector off of the 10 base T, right? And then you're sitting there, you're playing with it, and I'm like, this is dumb. I was like 23. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then we moved to decentralized, so more local access. And then we went back to a centralized computing system, which is the cloud. It's just somebody else's computer. So once we did that, now they're realizing there's not enough data. There's not enough data farm. There's not enough data centers. There's not enough bandwidth ready for this. And they're bringing it back to a decentralized, localized Internet of Things piece, which means with 5G, you get to take back the cloud. And I think it's kind of, it was poetic in my head that I left when the cloud came in and I'm coming back when the cloud's coming back down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Well, This has been a great podcast, Steve. Like, I think the actionable items for MSPs or even non-technical people out there is get to know this.
Yeah.
Don't just think of it as another upgrade to cell phones. This is more. This is going to get you more business if you resell your retailer. It's going to help you work with small businesses as an MSP. And I can fix a problem you didn't think was fixable.
Yeah.
And give you an edge over everyone you work with. So, Steve, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Luck in the fidget competition.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it. I'm having fun with it. So
yeah, it's a good time. If anybody else needs to check it out, check out Pitch It from ConnectWise. They do some amazing things, amazing companies there, and I hope to have more of you on.
Yeah, and we'll be out at ASCII Cups and IT Nation. Please feel free to stop by and have fun.
All right, we'll see you there.
Thanks for having me, Adam.